So good morning, and may I say welcome to all of you. I know we have some folks here this morning for the very first time. We welcome you. If you have been here before and haven't been with us for a while, we welcome you back. It's always wonderful to see our sanctuary filled. May I express my gratitude to each of you for being here, for standing up spiritually straight and tall and saying to yourself, there is something I want, and I know that I can receive a blessing for that, receive goodness, and take that in by attending to my own spiritual nature on a consistent basis. I don't know what my life would be like, and we wouldn't even want to contemplate it if I wasn't walking a spiritual path. I really believe we're always walking that path, whether it looks like it or not, but you know, it's a lot nicer on this side of the street. If you feel that you benefit from the Science of Mind community or from this teaching, I encourage you to live this out loud, just like several of you have today, by reaching out and tapping someone and saying, come with me on a Sunday. Let's go investigate this together, because perhaps it will change things not only for you, but for your loved ones, and that sometimes is huge. We never know when we reach out and bring someone with us on a Sunday, or simply even offer a smile, what the impact of that truly is. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you, Paul, for sharing. Judy on her way one Sunday, and she isn't with us this morning, but she went to Waffle House. I didn't know it was Waffle House, and saw Paul sitting by himself and invited him to come here. And we can't get rid of him now, not that we would. We love you, darling. Thank you for being here. So the last couple of weeks, we have been entertaining ourselves here on Sunday with a discussion about the nature of prayer and about kind of changing, perhaps taking the ceiling off our understanding of what that thing that we call God is. If you weren't here with us and you would like to benefit from those messages, most of those can be found on YouTube. Our channel is Open Door CSL, Center for Spiritual Living, Open Door CSL, one word. Most of them will be on there. And many of our messages going all the way back to May, literally 4 years ago, 2012, when we started having Sunday services. A lot of that stuff is on there. You can find me, you can find Carol, you can find some of our guest speakers on there. So it's a rich world once you tap into that. As I said, we've been talking about prayer and the nature of God and what all of that is about. And so we come back again this morning to continue with this discussion. This is a message in a series of messages. What we understand is that when we more deeply understand what prayer is, what God is, then things begin to open up for us. Things begin to change. You had a homework assignment last week, and I'm so anxious to know who did this one. This was a fun one. This was about speaking or acting and behaving in words that underscore the love that you have for yourself, your ability to care for yourself, to support yourself in ways that are whole and loving and complete. The specific suggestion was to identify 5 ways in which you could love yourself more fully, more completely, to practice these during the week, and then to come back here this morning and share your experience with us. If you were bold and brazen enough to do that, what we know is that when we do things like this, you know, sometimes we try a new spiritual practice and it lights the room up. Sometimes we try a new spiritual practice and it's kind of like, oh, whatever, okay? But when we share it with someone, it lights their life up. So who practiced the homework and is willing to share, is willing to talk about that? Carol. Stand up and yell. Go.
I'm not shy.
She's not shy.
I was thinking about the homework assignment, and what came to my mind was the how I process things like tithing. And you know, in the Bible it says give the first 10%, right? Well, I was thinking about that concept as it relates to giving myself more time every day for me to pray or to meditate. And it occurred to me that what I need to do is give myself the first 10% of the day.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah.
So that was my aha moment this week.
That is awesome, and that is perfect. And did you do that?
I did.
She did.
Not
yes.
every day, I have to admit, not every day, but I did it.
Yeah, that's practice. You know, it's all practice, right? We don't arrive. We just keep working on it. That is wonderful, and I love that. Tony Robbins says, if you don't have 10 minutes for yourself, you don't have a life. And that's, you know, that's. I'm not probably going to be buried. I think I'll be cremated, or I don't know. It might just turn into fairy dust someday. But what I know is that if there's anything left behind, you know, anything in form, anything tangible like a headstone, they can put that on there. Go get a life, okay? Get 10 minutes for yourself. And I love the first 10 minutes because that's, you know, that's important. That's a time when the ego is maybe not quite as situated and clear about who's in charge at things, right? So, yeah, anybody else? Yes, Gil, please.
A lot of what we were doing this week, my wife and I, were just cleaning up what comes into our body.
Right.
And also, in addition to that, we had, or at least I had an epiphany on helping the people that I worked with also. So I spent 3 hours of my workday doing a 10-page write-up on how we could get together and be more harmonious with each other through those 10 pages. Also, I'm just really happy that I have all the people that support me, and she made the list most of the week. Number one.
Why are we surprised with that, huh?
Helpful
Yeah,
and
that's great.
supportive. I have a beautiful, wonderful wife.
I love it.
It was interesting to see how it was more centered on other people than myself, my support system.
Yes.
It's important.
But you know, the people around us are a perfect reflection of how we're loving ourselves. You know, what are they like, right? Yeah, it's pretty huge. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
Like you said last week about the driving. The driving and people.
Oh, okay.
I just let everything, and I felt really good this week about it.
Okay. And so what, if I'm not mistaken, what Kelly's referring to is when we're in the vehicle and we're driving and one of those so-and-so's cuts out in front of you, or, you know, does one of those things that people are wanting to do, okay?
It felt really good to
Just not throwing out the, you know, that energy of you, whatever, okay? But just knowing, hey, maybe they're on the way to the hospital to have a baby. I don't want to stop them, okay? You know, maybe they got a phone call and they really need to respond quickly. We don't know. We never know, okay? So, yeah, that's awesome. It is. It's huge. And, you know, when we live from a gentler place of consciousness, we are the direct beneficiary of that. It changes that other person, but we are the direct beneficiary of that because we don't have to pull ourselves back up out of that place of irritation or anger or frustration or pain or fear or whatever the heck it is that we've grabbed hold of. Yeah, or used to grab hold of it. I love it. That's great. Well, I loved myself a little neat way this week. I went to my day job Monday, and many of you know if you were here last weekend that sometime between last Friday night and Saturday morning, I lost my billfold. I lost everything. I lost some cash. I lost my debit card, the center's debit card, my credit card, the center's credit card, my social security card, the registration for my car, the social security card, my driver's license, do I need to continue, my health insurance card. Haven't gotten it all back, but I just went to my boss and I said, look, I need the day off. I can't handle it right now. Your business needs to take a back seat, okay? Because, you know, I need to get some of this shut down where I feel better, I feel safer, I feel healthier and happier, okay? Because when I do that, you know, that is having a ripple effect. It's going out. And it's also filling the next few minutes of my day, and then the next few minutes, and the next few minutes with a lighter energy. a more comfortable place for me to operate from. So love yourself. If you want, as far as I'm concerned, and I know there's probably a ton of literature I'm not familiar with out there, but as far as I'm concerned, the coup de grace when it comes to loving yourself is Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. If you don't have it, buy it. You can get it for probably 25 cents, at discount books or something. It's just a Bible to me. It's absolutely one of the best things out there in terms of supporting and loving ourselves, in terms of forgiving and releasing the stuff that, so many of us are walking around with that we don't need. We don't need to be doing that anymore. So, okay, so we're going to continue with prayer, and you're going to have a homework assignment here from this week too, so get ready. I hope I have enough handouts. Oh my. So, at any rate, okay, we have been talking about prayer. And just as a kind of a segue into this, please understand that in Science of Mind, prayer is a 5-step process. It's a process we refer to here as what is called spiritual mind treatment. That's a crazy name, don't worry about it now. That's just what we call it. The founder of Science of Mind labeled it, and I have some words of prayer with Ernest every so often, but we haven't changed that yet. So today where we are, the last couple of weeks, we've talked about the first 2 steps. Today we're going to talk about the 3rd step, and then I'll do that in just a minute. You will remember, though, that in doing this, what we've been doing is building a really good foundation that lays the path for what we're going to talk about today. The first step of spiritual mind treatment, very simply, is that which is God, that which is consciousness, simply pervades, permeates, and lives through everything that is. Now, if that's a concept that stretches you, you're in great company, because my personal work is to continue to embody that, know that, and live that for the rest of my life. Okay? Do I know it some days better than others? You better believe it. Okay? So that's a practice. It's a process. We move on to step 2, which is that, guess what? I am God. It's not just me either, guys. I'm not up here alone, okay? Every one of us is an expression of divine wholeness, of divine holiness. Remember, we talked about Genesis, and in the beginning, there wasn't anything except God. So God couldn't go to Lowe's and Walmart and buy a bunch of building materials and build stuff. Could God now, okay? God rolled out of its own accord and created everything that is as an expression of itself, okay, as a facet, if you will. Think about how when the light hits something like a diamond, it's a many-faceted surface, and it's, the lights go out all over the place, okay? It moved into creation, okay? God is all there is. Everything that is, especially me, all of it is God. So now we come to step 3, okay, which is a step that we refer to here in Science of Mind as realization. And I have a definition of that word. This is from dictionary.com. Realization is the making or being made real of something that has been imagined, planned, and so on. I believe this step has to do with knowing. And if you've been here for a while, you know Ernest Holmes was into capitalizing words. I would capitalize every letter in this one. This step is about knowing something, knowing whatever it is we wish to see manifest. It might be a new vehicle. It could be the love of our life. It might be greater health and wholeness for ourselves, or an animal companion, or a loved one. Okay? How many of you have seen what this kind of work can do for your health? Yeah. It's huge sometimes, isn't it? Okay. It might be that we desire greater income. The more money I have, the more I have to give with. Every time I go to Ingles or Walmart or put a check in the mail to my bank, guess what I'm doing? Guess what you're doing? Did I turn myself off? I did. Guess what we're doing when we do that? Can't turn me off, honey, okay? What we're doing is we are literally situating it so that the people who work at that mortgage company have jobs next year? If everybody defaulted on their mortgage, what would happen to those employees? Okay, it would go away. Every dime we put out in the universe benefits others. Okay, so the more that I have, the more that I can give. I might want to manifest something like my perfect love relationship. Mike doesn't like it when I talk about how I manifested him. And I keep asking him, where were you before you were here in my world? And he doesn't think that's comical, but I think it's hysterical, okay? It's really hysterical when you think about the path that I took and all the interesting relationships I had before I showed him up, okay? Or he showed up or whatever. But what we're doing is we are working, we're moving, whatever it is in this step, from that which we desire, that which we have been imagining, planning, hoping, believing in to some degree, from the ethers, from imagination to form. We are bringing something into form. And again, it might be one of those kind of intangible things like a relationship. It doesn't have to be a new car or something we could go knock knock and it made noise on, okay? Essentially, that's what this step is all about. Now we know in this teaching that we are always creating, that we are creators, made in the image of, creating just like the divine does, okay? We're always creating, even when we're asleep. But when we act, where's that word? When we engage in, that's not the word I want, but when we engage in this step, in treatment, in prayer work, what we know is that we literally bring it into form, okay? We take it from maybe to yes, okay? To it's here now, it's mine, okay? So this step is a huge bridge. When we do this in science of mind, the preferred way is to speak our word out loud. After the service here in a few minutes, we'll offer 1-minute miracles. That is prayer work with Carol, a licensed practitioner, and myself as a minister. When we do that, when we speak the word for you, we state that word, we state what it is that you wish to see manifest out loud. Because we understand that for some reason, that has impact. Okay? That's how it's practiced today. When we speak our word, it's as if we are moving something from our subconscious, or maybe just the waterline. Remember the image of the iceberg that we've seen so many times on PowerPoint? It's as if what we desire is at the level of the water, and we want to bring it up out of the water, up out of the subconscious, up into our knowingness, okay? Where we have a firmer grasp on its reality in this world. When we practice step 3, we are declaring, we are affirming, we are very simply knowing. Really? It sounds cheeky to me. That's what I thought when I first came to a Science of Mind center and somebody talked to me, or I heard a message about this prayer work. I thought, you guys are kind of bold. I don't know if I like that or not. It made me uncomfortable. I still think it makes me uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, really, why would we believe that just because we gave lip service to something, it would show up? Why would we believe that the universe would go, boom, okay, right, I hear you. I got you. Got your back, baby. Okay? Well, you know, we can look at spiritual literature, perhaps, though, and see some validation of this. If we go to the traditional Christian scripture, the Bible, and look at Matthew, it is fraught with situations of faith making manifest truth. And that word would be capitalized. Jesus walked into Capernaum on the Sea of Galilee, on the edge of the sea there. And the centurion approached him. And he came to him as not humble, as not a lowlife, as not as someone of no power. The centurion was a man of power, of place, of wealth in his society. He had earned great respect. He came to Jesus as one authority to another, and he said, my servant is dying. Will you heal him? Jesus looked at him, and his response was something like, where'd it go to? Because you have believed, it is done. Go home. Later in Matthew, there's another piece of evidence along the same line. This is the blind woman who struggles through the crowd because she believes if she can just touch the hem of his cloak, she'll be able to see again. Now, recognize that in science of mind, we believe there's a whole different metaphysical enchilada there, okay, about touching the hem of the garment and all of that. What is that? What could that story mean? We believe that Jesus talked in parables, in stories, because some would get it and others wouldn't. And that was the natural way that evolution occurred. Okay, I believe it still is. But what we know is that Jesus turned to her. He felt, he got her thought. He was capable of kind of that psychic awareness, you know. He heard her thought even though she did not speak it. And he said, it's done, okay? Because you have faith, it's done. And she could see. There's a lot of evidence there. Another possibility is that we believe in this teaching in what we refer to as spiritual law. We understand the whole universe is activated and operates on a system of laws that are perfectly and completely equitable. I know that many of you who have been with us before have heard me say that this is a perfectly mathematical universe, and it really is. Exactly what we are is what comes to us. Exactly what goes out has to come back to us. There isn't a situation of a deity who goes, well, you're good and I'm going to give you this, and you're not so good and I'm going to dash you off to some hot place, okay? No, not that, okay? We understand that spiritual law that whatever it is that we give out simply comes back. So if we know in prayer, if we claim something to be truth, the universe goes, okay, all right, I'm hearing you. Maybe I need to hear you louder. Maybe you need to know it more, okay? But it will move, we will begin to move in that direction. This is one of the things that Ernest Holmes says about this in The Essential Ernest Holmes. He says, everyone automatically attracts to himself just what he is. There is no power in the universe but ourselves that can free us. Man must bring himself to the place in mind where he is what he desires to see manifest. How many times have you heard about someone winning the lottery? I mean, millions and billions of dollars, and a year later they're homeless. The consciousness is not back of the capacity to maintain that, okay? And the universe is not going to, you know, what we aren't isn't going to stay with us. We can't bring about or demonstrate or manifest something that we are not. We have to become synonymous with that which we desire. We have to become its equivalent. Ernest was clear in this, that prayer is not supplication, it's not wishing, it's not hoping, it's not begging. It is a concrete declaration of truth. Ernest Holmes studied all the world's religions. This was not, it might have been formerly uneducated. I think he had like an 8th grade education. Recognize now that schools in a lot of places didn't go past. If you went to 8th grade, you were considered like a college graduate, okay? This was the early 1900s, 100 years ago. He was born in 1887, okay? So it would have been the turn of the century, literally. And he gave up on school because he said, they ain't got nothing to teach me anymore. He wasn't being, you know, humble. I mean, he wasn't, well, he really was being humble. He knew he could go to work, and he could probably help the universe and help his family a lot more. You hear a lot more about Ernest's family on things like Mother's Day and Father's Day, because what we know, you know, he came from a family of 9 children, and they were homeless. They didn't even have a home. All but one boy lived, okay? I think his mother, you know, kind of deserves canonization. But he studied the world's religions. He was very connected to the Egyptian philosophy called Hermetics, or Hermetics, I can say that, okay? What that does is it relates that back of everything that is in physical, informed, there is a spiritual pattern holding that present. How does that feel? What do you think about that? That means that all of this stuff we see, even our physical selves, is essentially effect. And that there is something back of it that is causal in nature. That is the place in consciousness that we work with when we are doing spiritual mind treatment. Okay. Now, if that's all a new concept to you, the idea of, what goes out, what comes back is what comes back, how we speak and think and behave and live truly has an effect on us, it probably is not really anything new, okay? But think about what happens this time of the year when we go outside, we've taken a packet of seed, and we decide we're going to put seeds down in the dirt. Really? And something's going to happen? If you plant carrots, do you think you're going to get tomatoes? Probably not, unless they messed up the label on the packet, right? Okay? Gardeners do it every day. They put something down, they put out a seed, they put out a thought, they put out a knowingness, okay? They don't go back every second or third day and dig up the seed. I want to. How many of you want to? Like, is it coming up yet? Where is it? Let me get a microscope. I can't see it. My glasses don't work, okay? I really am bad for that, okay? Is that it? Maybe that's a weed. Maybe I need to pull it. I don't know what that is. Y'all, I know Anthony has a big garden, right? Anthony has a huge garden, okay? But you come to rely on putting that out there. You don't question it. There's no doubt, okay? So what we do is very much like a gardener manifesting that, in consciousness. Can we see the next slide, Betty? Thank you. You saw this one a couple of weeks ago. We continue to refer back to it. Everything in the box is everything that is. So you can see this is everything, guys. It's all the tangible, it's all the unformed, it's everything that ever has been, everything that is, everything that will be, all of it, okay? It's pure consciousness. What we're doing when we are engaging in treatment, in prayer, is we are moving from a place of denser consciousness to a place of more light, of more God consciousness. What we do when we pray is we move ourselves. We don't change God. We move from where we are all the way over here, okay? Now, it might be that we want to get all the way over there, but we're making progress, okay? And so we continue to do it. If we need help, we go to a practitioner or a minister and we say, know with me, okay? My perfect health. Health is an interesting thing. It's hard to create perfect health if you don't feel good, if your body is in pain, okay? Because it is a real sensate sort of experience, okay? We have no doubt when we do this that it changes things. This may continue to seem extreme. Let's consider that what this is about, and this is what blows me away. It just blows me away, okay? Is that this is exactly what cutting-edge modern-day science is telling us. The field of quantum science basically says that whatever we focus on prevails. Now, if you think there's even one iota of truth about this, I encourage you to be extremely clear about the second Tuesday in November. It is the second Tuesday, isn't it? Or is it the first? The election day, please, okay? Just, yes, get clear, okay? Stop thinking about the person you don't want as a candidate and get clear about what might be best for our country. And I'm making a joke. I'm not being political here. I don't support a particular party when I'm here on Sundays, okay? And watch my Facebook post for more. But truthfully, this is what wins elections, okay? And landslides them. huge fear on the part of mass people shifts things, okay? Don't allow yourself to stay in that consciousness. It's important to be the gardener in this, to be very clear that when we put the seed out, when we have the thought, that it's something we wish to propagate, it's something we wish to grow, it's something we wish to see made manifested or realized in our life. What are we getting to today? We don't dig the seed up either. I said that too, didn't I? There's also a neat thing about this that's important to recognize. Once we do this work on this level, that's all we have to do. It's not ours to make something happen. Does the gardener go out there and make the seed grow? No. What does that? I have no idea. God, yeah, okay? Something bigger than me, okay? Because I've had plenty of those experiences where I put a plant or a seed in the ground. It didn't, okay? I don't know what I didn't do or did do or, all of that, but it didn't happen, okay? Maybe my knowingness wasn't quite where it needed to be. That can certainly be part of the situation, okay? It's only ours to know that it's done, to know it. My personal experience with this from years ago is that I have had issues in the past with my neck. My neck has had an interesting life. It's fallen off horses, and it's fallen off bar stools, okay? We won't go into that. That's a whole different bunch of Sundays, okay? But really, my neck was something of an issue. In fact, I was in so much pain that the place that I was working, I had 3 or 4 bags of frozen peas in the freezer. You didn't eat these peas. I pinned them to my neck, my clothes right there, to keep my neck from hurting when I would be working at the computer. And when they would melt, I would throw it back in the freezer and get another bag, okay? Finally, I went to the doctor and he said, "Oh, this is not good. You have a bone spur the size of my thumb. I'm sending you to a neurosurgeon. There isn't any therapy here that's going to fix it. You're looking at the knife." And I was like, "You're not looking at the knife with me." Well, at that point in my life, I had been studying for 3 years to become a licensed science of mind practitioner. I was getting ready to sit for my written exam and then go through my oral panels, which is where 3 or 4 of them get together and talk to you before they license you, basically, okay? And I was kind of nervous about it because I was like, if you can't know this stuff for yourself, how the heck are you ever going to help anybody else? Okay? How are you going to be able to do that? So I decided to use these tools. And I sat down every morning in my prayer work the first 10 minutes. It's a really important time. I like more than 10 minutes, though. Actually, I would do like 10 hours if the world would leave me alone, but for some reason it won't. At any rate, I would sit there and I would use spiritual mind treatment, and I would speak a word for myself, knowing that everything back there, bone was where it belonged, muscle was exactly supporting everything the way it needed to be, that everything, ligaments, tissue, all of it was exactly the way nature intended. And I just said, "You're not going to get up from this chair, sweetie. Do you know it?" Y'all know that gut feeling, don't you? Okay? We've had that gut feeling before. So I would sit there until I had that gut feeling, and surprisingly enough, it came very easily. So when I left the doctor's office that day, he gave me my x-rays. I took them to the neurosurgeon. I threw them in the trunk of my car, kept them for a couple weeks, was very watchful over them because I was like, nobody's going to mess with these and I'm not going to lose them. I'm not going to, just clean out my trunk and like throw them in the dumpster or something. I get to the neurosurgeon's office, he takes a look at them and he goes, "Well, for a lady your age, you have a little arthritis." That was the end of that deep relationship. Right there, he just lost me, okay? "For a lady your age, you have a little arthritis. There's no bone spur there. I don't see anything like that. Just go home and if it, how do you feel?" I'm like, "I feel great, okay? I feel good. It's there, but it's not like it was. It's certainly nowhere near the intensive, issue that I had a couple weeks ago when I finally went to my doctor." And he said, "Well, just come home, If you ever have any issues, come back." And I was like, I ain't going back. Forget it, okay? That's what we do. We do this work in consciousness until we literally change what's happening on a physical level. We're going to look at other ways to do that in the placebo class. It's huge. Okay? Thought is powerful. We understand in science of mind that this universe operates on what I would refer to as the ethics of reciprocity. What goes out simply comes back. It's the same as the golden rule. Well, how about that? Isn't that interesting? What goes around comes around. What we give out is what will come back to us. What we receive is what we believe. Even modern day teachings are telling us that. If you're a follower of Esther and Jerry Hicks and the Abraham teachings, you've probably heard of the 17-second technology or method. I love this. Have you tried to hold on to a thought for 17 seconds uninterrupted? Good luck. Okay. It is a challenge, even for what I refer to as my trained thought potential. Okay. It's not easy. But when we hold on to something that long, it goes from conscious down into subconscious. It moves from the top of the iceberg where we see it down into what's below the waterline. Okay? So that what is there is diluted, whatever it is. If it's not what we want, it's diluted with what we do want. We continue to do that over and over and over again, and we will make manifest that which we are holding in thought for a mere 17 seconds. So the universe will conspire to bring about what we believe in. Do you believe that? Sort of. Maybe. Not at all. Okay. No response. Well, in that case, yes, thank you. Okay. We're going to ask Frank to pass those out as far as they'll go. Hopefully there's enough. This is an example. Thank you. Bless and make more of them while you're on the way around the room. So this is a spiritual mind treatment written by Ernest Holmes himself. It comes from a thing called You, which is an amazing little read by Ernest. I love it. I call it the law of my life. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to speak a word out loud. We're going to recite this together. And then your homework for your enjoyment and pleasure this week, if you choose to accept this assignment, is to simply recite this out loud with intention. What do I mean by with intention? I mean, don't read it like this in the bathroom where nobody can see you. If you've got family or people around and you don't want them to hear you, 10 minutes for your life, get in your car, go somewhere else, okay? Find a long red light. You can probably read it there, but be careful if you're driving and reading. I knew a computer guy once who used to read computer manuals like this while I was driving about 80 miles an hour. I was really glad that he didn't do that when I was in the car with him. So okay, it is the law of my life. We've made our way around the room. Everybody got one. Oh, good. We got extras. Look at that. See? That's perfect. I have it in 20 point up here so I can actually see it. We're going to say this out loud. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. It is the law of my life that wherever I go, the way shall be prepared before me, made immediate, perfect, plain, straight, and easy. I am compelled to see and understand every opportunity that presents itself to operate upon it intelligently. I am compelled to take any physical action necessary to the manifestation of this word. There is nothing in me that hinders the Spirit from manifesting itself through me in joy, happiness, and peace. It is the law of my life that wherever I go, I shall meet with joy, with love, with friendship, with gratitude, with compensation, with a complete opportunity for the expression of every talent and ability I possess. Every door is open. Nothing can go forth from me but goodness, truth, love, kindness, Therefore, nothing less than goodness can come back to me. I identify myself with abundance, health, and happiness. I associate myself with the vast all. I identify myself with everything necessary to make my life complete. There is no depression, no fear, no sense of lack, insecurity, or unworthiness. I believe that God is all in all, over all, in everything that I shall ever meet. I am filled with peace and confidence, and so it is. Breathe. Yeah, breathe that in. Make that your homework this week. If you want it to be even more powerful, say it in front of a mirror. Memorize this. This is really not that long, you guys. You could memorize this by Tuesday, and by Wednesday you could be standing in front of the mirror going, it is the law of my life. Okay? Do you know the universe will absolutely open doors and make things happen for you? Okay? If you will do this. So will you do it? And so next week, everybody's going to come back, right? And we're going to all talk about the homework we did and the amazing things that happened. I can't wait to hear. I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.